Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the second round of the RENNSPORT community leagues. And today we are here at the Nürburgring, one of my personal favorite tracks, to be honest. However, we also got quite a well-reserved grid today. A lot of very good and well-known drivers. One of them we are already watching in Remco Major. However, we have 9 drivers on top split, and all of them are pretty good, I'd say. So very much looking forward to this race, and also in general to what the season can bring afterwards, because it's only race 2 of 6. Still a long way to go in the championship. And the championship leader, unfortunately, isn't here today. So we will probably see a lead change in the standings, which you can always check on the RENNSPORT app. More on that later on in the stream. However, in terms of the broadcast itself, pretty simple thing, 30-minute race with GT3s. And yeah, it's about getting as many points as possible for the overall standings to be first in the championship and the end of it. As we see them making their way in practice, getting some laps in, getting used to the cars. And qualifying should start in just a bit. As we see already a bit of fighting there between the 6 of Tibia and the 9 car of, I think it's Mr. No, it's not Mr. It's Giuseppe Di Martino. 2 new drivers. So you can mostly see that in terms of their stats. 1 safety rating, 1500 RENNSPORT rating. That's the baseline, so they will surely hope to make some up in this race. And welcome also to everyone in chat. And there's already talks about this man, who we can't see because he's behind the fence. Timothy in chat, who's also driving Tim Schroeder. And yeah. About the championship itself, we've been to Hockenheimring 2 weeks ago, and currently the standings look as the following. We have Shigani in first place with 167 points. The points are an addition of your position where you finish in, of course, and which split you are on. So we have, in this case, 2 splits. As people get ready for qualifying, we will be right back with the footage as soon as it's available. However, there are multiple splits in this case, and that will also transfer to the points, because in a higher split you of course get more points than in a lower split. As we are now ready for qualifying. And Shigani won the first split last time round, followed by this man, Dominik Ladler. He is sitting on 139 points. And Joachim Thunder in third place with 111 points. Both Ladler and Thunder are in this race as well. So they are looking to take on the lead of the championship. But it's not for certain yet, because also the driver numbers changed. And we have a few more drivers than last time. Last time we had 7 cars on track, and this time on top split we have 8 cars. And the more cars, so the more rivals you beat in a race, the more points it will also yield. So this might also change things, but one of the 2 is very likely to get the championship lead after this round. We also have, for example, Fridge on the second split, so he will move up in the standings, hopefully. And if you want to check any live timings as well of both splits, so also of the second split, which we aren't covering on the stream here, you can just go to your RENNSPORT app through the Leagues tab, and then look for the RCL Season 1 League, and just go to the race on the Nürburgring. And you can see live data of all cars, even live positions. Lots of interesting stuff there. But now we are starting with qualifying, while Nico Nüninghoff, who's finally returning for some racing here, is going into the pits, interestingly, but there's Tim Schroeder starting his first flying lap, the first to do so, and now down into turn 1. Let's follow him for this lap, see what he can put down. Will probably be a bit of a safe lap. We have 15 minutes of qualifying, so lots of chances to put a valid lap in. And you can see he's not pushing to the fullest, just getting a banker lap in, getting used to the car again. Seen that in Hockenheim last time around as well. Now down into the Grand Prix section. He's not diving too deep into this, and you can see a lot of different lines through the Dunlop turn. I think it was actually changed in terms of name to Goodyear, but they change names quite often, but I think to everybody who's a bit involved, it will always stay as the Dunlop turn. And yeah, you can see he's not taking all the risk he can. Just getting one valid lap in. Also in that beautiful beta winner livery. Of course indicating that he is a race winner in this game. And now down to the Verdol chicane. Braking quite early there. Cross the curbs. And now through the final turn. Let's see what does he put down. Let's activate the scoreboard to keep track. And again see a lot of Porsches as usual, but also 2 Audis. And a 157.7, that is very respectable indeed. But Dominik Ladler already puts down a lap time faster than that with a 57.5, but it's close up front. Remco Major didn't set a valid lap time there. And I can guarantee you that it will be quite the dogfight in the race between Ladler, Schroeder, Major and Nüninghoff and Thunder. So those 5, all high quality drivers. Of course we've seen Nico Nüninghoff pulling away a bit in the first 2 RCEs. But most other drivers have caught up a bit. So I wouldn't be all too certain about that. Meanwhile, we see a few different drivers now coming to complete their lap. De Martino's the first of the 2. Does he put down a valid lap time? No, he does not. So does Nistor. Next up across the line is Joachim Thunder. Of course, notorious for his consistency. Does put a lap down, but it's quite far off, but I'm sure he will improve on that. Dominik Ladler now into the final sector. But Remco Major, that was the wrong number, I'm sorry. Remco Major, I think, at least it looks like he's closing in on the Austrian. So maybe, they let him through as well, so Ladler not happy with his lap anyway. But let's see, out of the final turn again, Remco Major. And he does put the hammer down 157.3. Tim Schroeder also improved last lap and is second now. But that's a very good lap time. Let's see. Oh, and Nico Nüninghoff. Just over the line. 156.3. Of course, also like, I mean, many people would know that he's driving in the Porsche Esports Carrera Cup. In general, a very notable driver on esports level. 1 second ahead of his competition in this qualifying session so far, but I wouldn't be too certain that it will stay like this, because we still have quite a lot of time to go. So we are now approaching halfway of the session. Joachim Thunder is now coming on the final turn to complete his next lap. Cross the line. Wasn't valid, unfortunately, this one. So we still have 4 drivers without a valid lap time. Sometimes a bit of an issue with my game, it seems like, with the engine sound. In case you're wondering. Now Tim Schroeder, can he improve on his lap? Oh, goes very wide there, loses the rear end. And that also means he has to go to the pits. Remco Major didn't improve on this lap. So right on to the next one. And Nico Nüninghoff, can he improve once more? Of course, he's also not done with this qualifying session. Doesn't improve on this lap. Maybe we can jump on board with Joachim Thunder. Now going through the long sweeping bend. And you can see he's not as aggressive on the curbs as some other people. We've seen with Schroeder and Major, for example, earlier. But that, even though it might not help in qualifying particularly, but in the race, and we've seen that countless times in the recent RCL and RCE events, that Joachim Thunder is making up for that in the race with good tire management, long tire life, a lot of consistency, rarely does any mistakes as he just slides out the rear bit at the exit of turn 1 here. But in general, just a super consistent driver. And also, what is a very nice story, he is going to participate he's going to participate tomorrow in the Porsche Esports Career Cup Deutschland, along with Nico Nüninghoff, I think. I'm not sure. I think Nico is also in there. However, very nice to see that he made it in as well. Trying to find any info on that. So if you are interested to see more competition on RENNSPORT tomorrow, the Porsche Esports Career Cup Deutschland will take place, the final heats in the championship. And I think it's definitely worth a watch. Also tomorrow we will have another broadcast on the Krystall Productions channel if you're watching on YouTube. With KCG having its second race as well on RENNSPORT with the touring cars, this time at Orchard Road. So there will be a lot happening tomorrow on this game. And make sure not to miss that. Going back to qualifying, there's not been too much change. A few more times by Martino and Nistor. Joachim Thunder still in the same position, now across the line. Does he improve this time around? Not yet. Maybe it was also invalid. At front it also still looks as before. Nüninghoff, Major, Schroeder and Ladler. Major, Schroeder and Ladler very close together. Will be interesting to see if Ladler thinks about the championship or just about the race result. Of course, the ruling still for him in his favor. Been on the podium in every single broadcasted race he entered. This is also true for KCG. But in RCE and RCL, he always finished on the one of the top 3 spots in the race. It's surely continuing. Looking forward to continue that, but will be a bit harder with Nürburgring of Major and Schroeder in his way. But qualifying also is coming to an end now. We have 2 minutes to go, so some people, like the 8 car of Loreto, might be able to finish another lap in time, even though it will be quite tight. Very unlikely though, so this, for the most part, will be everyone's final lap. And Joachim Thunder is the one to lead the train onto the start-finish line. Does he improve this time around? No, he doesn't. Does Dominik Ladler improve? No, he and both the, I think it's the 9 car of De Martino, go into the pits to abort their laps. See, Nico Nüninghoff is still on a flying lap, but before him we have Schroeder and Major coming across the line. Both now into the chicane. Major getting a mighty toe there from his Dutch colleague. Which of course kind of helps him though. He also improved to only 7/10 down on Nico Nüninghoff previously. And across the line there to go. Again a big toe, and it is enough to solidify second place with a 156.9. Tim Schroeder in 3rd position. But Nico Nüninghoff comes across the line one final time and just nearly a 55, but just nearly a 156.037. What a lap time by him. So congrats to him. Because this will be pole position. He now also goes back to pits. But this will be our starting order for the race. We have Nico Nüninghoff on pole, Remco Major in 2nd, the 2 Audis leading up front, and then Tim Schroeder, Ladler, Thunder, De Martino, Nistor, Loreto, and Tibia. So we move on to the race now. So that means we will go on to a bit of covering what's happening. But a very promising qualifying session, I'd say. Of course, the gap's a bit bigger between some people, but it doesn't really matter in the race. We've seen that at Hockenheim last time around. It's a lot about tire life. It's a lot about keeping the temperatures in the tire working. Of course, since the update that improved quite a lot, so it's easier to keep on pushing throughout. But still, it's a challenge you have to master first. And I think we will see a lot of fighting, especially for the podium positions. As we are now preparing for the rolling start, which of course is special to the community leagues. Nico Nüninghoff is leading them. We have a bit of a gap forming there. But they're coming out of the final turn. Can see Owen Remco didn't get the best of starts. And I think that's Tim Schroeder who had a brilliant start. They're already alongside Remco Major. Ladler also with a good start. Remco Major was slightly above the speed limit possibly and had to like slightly go on the brakes. But it's Schroeder up the inside of Major for 2nd position. Major had a better drive out of turn 2 though and was able to keep it in front. What about the people further behind? Joachim Thunder has lost the position to Giuseppe De Martino, who moved up into 5th place. So you'll be looking to make that position back up. But up front we have Nico Nüninghoff But Remco Major and Tim Schroeder are both holding on firmly, and also Ladler is not losing too much ground. There you can see from Schroeder's perspective. Just a little lift through the Schumacher eyes. See, Joachim Thunder is close behind Di Martino. But getting close is one thing, getting past is another. Now can Nico Nüninghoff build a gap to Remco Major? Can Remco Major keep it in slipstream range for the front stretch and through the back stretch down the hill? But it seems like Nico Nüninghoff is having a good drive here. Meanwhile, we can see the move being made by Joachim Thunder, who moved up back into 5th position into turn 1. And now in clean air. See, Ladler has lost a bit of ground to Schroeder in front. See how this will pan out over the race distance. This doesn't mean much now at this stage. Also in that beautiful livery that you were able to obtain during the DreamHack event from RENNSPORT ESLR1. It's always nice to see a bit of color variation on the grid. But it's Nico Nüninghoff now leading the way. But also, Joachim Thunder was able to get past Giuseppe Martino, but he isn't able to get, to build a good gap to him. So he's still in good proximity to launch a counter-attack in the coming laps if he can keep it in the slipstream range. So he's definitely having a good race here. Can just double check, but I think it's also his first run. Even though he has driven quite a bit before. Which of course you can do now quite well in single player due to the newly added time trial mode. Where you can challenge ghosts from all people all over the world and fight for a top spot. Especially on the newly released Goodwood circuit. I think Goodwood and Mission R is one of the most prestigious combinations we have currently. So if you want to get a bit of time trial laps or runs in, don't know what to drive, that's always a recommendation. Very fun track, very special track, but also a very fun car, which is quite unique. Can see Remco Major is pushing it to the edge, going as far as possible, but not hitting the gravel trap. And Nico Nüninghoff is just a bit too fast for him to catch up. Schroeder also getting more aggressive over the curbs in Vidor. trying to catch up to his Dutch colleague who's in front of him. But for Dominik Ladler, he's just not... doesn't have quite the pace to go with Major and Schreuder, which could mean for him the end of his podium streak, which was very remarkable. But it also seems like Schroeder kind of got into his groove now, because he was always losing a bit to Major, but he's now keeping it constantly at the 1.5 second mark. You know, it also seems like Tibia is no longer participating in this race. It's also marked on the app as it did not start, so he didn't make it into the race, unfortunately. Oh, and Martino having a moment there. That is, I think, in the second sector. Yeah, it's at the end of the second sector coming down the hill. This is now the chance for Nistor to get hold of 6th place. Depending on how bad De Martino cooked his tires while spinning. But back up front, Remco Mayer was able to build back the gap to Schroeder. And Schroeder had a moment there in the exit of Mercedes. He just lost the end. Managed to catch it to not lose too much time, but definitely not ideal. So we are approaching the first third of the race to be done. Oh, and De Martino is also parked it in the pits. It's not a timing issue. He actually DNF'd from the race. So very unfortunate for him. But that means Loreto and Nistor both move up a position. Maybe we can keep it on board with Ladler for a lap. In one lap around the Nürburgring, because I don't think we have done that like as a complete thing. Also, I haven't had an event on Nürburgring for quite a long time. Of course, the first RCE was on the Nürburgring with a Porsche Cup car a few months ago. It's a very interesting strategy by Ladler there to shift back up into second. It was a big thing in the first season of ESL 1. But since then, haven't seen it that much actually. can also see that he's playing it a bit safe. He's not using the maximum curve of... Okay, and this... that's a commentator's curse in some way. In a different way, probably, but... Of course, then he starts using more curve. But if you compare that to Schroeder, Major, and Ninninghoff, they are using a bit more in certain areas. But of course, from his perspective, he's in front of Thunder, and those will be comfortably, I think, around 100 points. And that could still be enough to be in the championship lead at the end of this race. Not sure whether Lala is really thinking about the championship. That's something you can only assume. But coming home with 100 points is better than finishing last, or even worse, having a DNF and finishing with 0 or maybe 20, 30 points. So for him, probably the better option to just play it safe. Of course, this is different for Ninninghoff and Major because they have not driven in the first round. They make up points now. Same should go for Schroeder. Indeed it does. So they are playing catch-up. And for Nistor and Loreto, finishing this race would already be a huge accomplishment in their first race, in their first big race on RENNSPORT. 30-minute race, while quite normal on other platforms maybe, is quite a challenge if you're moving to a new platform, to a new sim, to get used to it. So we're approaching halfway in this race. So soon the tire degradation should also be noticeable. And Joachim Thunder, he was, I think, about 6 seconds off after his fight with Di Martino in the beginning. But I think he's catching up to Ladler. Just having a look on the times. He isn't making up a lot of time per lap, but he is making up time, and there's still 15 minutes to go. Even though there was a bit of a drift there. But that's still plenty of time, of course. Oh, and you can see how aggressive... Oh, and nearly losing the rear end there. Took a lot of curb on the inside, which is not something you see a lot from him. But didn't lose all too much time. Just hope he didn't overcook his tires with this maneuver, because he was quite significantly sideways. Nico Ninninghoff might actually lap Joao Loreto on this race. So everybody pretty much settled into their position for now. think what will be interesting later in this race will be between Majora and Schroeder and Lala and Thunder. So there's nothing but waiting and seeing that we can do. However, we could take a look at the upcoming races in this championship. Because we are now, of course, in episode 2 at the Nürburgring. And next up will be very interesting. We will be going to Daytona. Of course, we had a ranked community event quite some time ago with GT3s at Daytona. Of course, since then a bit of stuff has changed on those cars. But going back to Daytona, we had a very good fight for the lead there, also involving Nico Nüninghoff. Lots of slipstream battles, of course. And I think that will be very interesting to see what will happen on this track with the updated cars. And also if we see a driver pool like today, this might be quite the interesting show to watch. So in 2 weeks time, we will be back with the RENNSPORT community leagues. Of course, next week there will be a ranked community event, which we will be talking about later after this race as well, because it will be a pretty special one, I think, and one I'm very much looking for, and I know I'm not the only one. However, going back to the action on track, Joachim Thunder is, after his little excursion, still in the 6-second range, so it doesn't seem like he lost too much time there. But Nico Nüninghoff is approaching Tudor Nistor. I'm not, sorry, not Tudor Nistor, João Loreto. Nistor unfortunately also DNF'd from this race. Goes to the inside, leaves space on the outside for Nico to slip through. Nico now having a 10-second gap to Remco Major behind. Remco Major, of course, will be the next one in line. Can see him sliding a bit more, so the rear of the car is getting a bit loose here and there, but of course it's also a bit intentional on certain occasions in this car. Yeah, 8 being a very tail-happy car. So is the Porsche, but in a bit of a different way. The Audi is a bit more erratic due to the mid-engine, so it's a bit more... You have to drive a bit more reactively or proactively at best, but there's more movement involved. Meanwhile, in the Porsche, it can get loose, and sometimes it actually does help a bit. But overall, it's more stable on turn-in. Of course, leading to more understeer. Porsche 911 being notorious for its understeer. Could even go as far as saying a Porsche 911 without understeer isn't a Porsche 911. But of course, seeing all the victories and successes it has, it definitely pays off. But same goes for all the different GT3s we have in this game. The Audi being a very successful car in real life. The BMW, one of the go-to cars for many teams at this point in the Mercedes. Also, of course, in Nürburgring, for example. of numerous victories, and there, I think that was Joao Loreto in the grass actually, yeah, indeed. Oh, 1 second, that's Tim Schreider going very wide there. Coming back onto the track in front of Dominik Ladler. It seems like he misbraked or lost the car going down the hill and just understeered into the gravel. But that means... oh, now going straight in the chicane as well. Ladler also with a bit of oversteer. And that was not Schreider, that was Loreto. But they're in front, and right in in the visor of Dominik Ladler is Tim Schreider for P3. So maybe after all, Dominik Ladler isn't giving up at all on the podium streak, because he's now having a podium position right in his sights. And we still have 8 minutes to go, so roughly 4 laps. Can Ladler get close to Tim Schreider in time, and can he get past in time? Oh, that was a bit of a close call there between Thunder and Loreto. Loreto, of course, then giving way to Thunder for the blue flags, but both just a bit of a misunderstanding there. But of course, no big issue there. No contact was made. But it seems like Tim got his pace already back. But Ladler is also sending it harder than before. Using much more of the track than we've seen in previous stages of the race. And in the technical stages of the track, he is actually gaining. Oh, but now very wide, losing the rear end. Catching it, not losing time actually in the process, or just a bit of time relatively to what he's done there. But that was a big slide there by Ladler. .2 seconds now the gap between Schreider and Ladler. Both pushing their machines to the limit. Of course, in the meantime they shouldn't overstep the limit, as both did in the last 2 laps once. And we have 5 minutes to go in the race, of course, with the last lap having to be finished. Oh, touching the gravel there. Car gets unsettled, but not a big issue. Meanwhile, Nico Nüninghoff now will be 3 laps, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go back to the fight for P3. But Ladler seems to have lost quite some... No, wait. Is that Ladler in front? No, it's not. Joachim Thunder unfortunately wasn't able to really get closer to Ladler with his pace. Although he's still driving a very solid race here in P5. But his title challenge will have to wait a bit. Meanwhile, Remco still in second place, mistake free. Of course, in time trials, Nico Nüninghoff, Remco Major have a very tight battle on multiple tracks. I think Porsche Cup Car and Mission are highly fought battles at, I think, at multiple tracks actually. They're not only battling it out at Goodwood. Nico Nüninghoff, of course, isn't just a very good driver, he's also the highest rated driver. With a rating of 2146 currently. Followed by Kyaiki Oliveira and Moritz Löhner actually. Joachim Thunder is also very far up actually in the rating. Because he's just driving a lot. Can't say it like that, but 1825 rating for him. Dominik Later 1887. But Nico Nüninghoff just came across the line to start the final lap of this race. And if he doesn't do a mistake or has any other bad luck coming his way, which I wouldn't anticipate now, that will be a lights to flags victory actually. And a clean sweep, as he also dominated practice and qualifying. Some might also know it as a Grand Slam. But also Dominik Ladler wasn't able to capitalize on the mistake from Tim Schroeder 3 laps ago. So this might be his first race outside a podium position. Nüninghoff down the hill. A little bit of a slide there. Through the Advan bend. Then braking hard for Vidol. Can also see how much curb he's taking. Rarely see that from other drivers. To this extent. But now out of the final turn. In his first appearance in the Ranked Community League, Nico Nüninghoff is winning the second episode of the first season here at the Nürburgring with a Grand Slam. Congratulations to him. And Remco Major finishing in P2nd, if that is a word that actually exists, In P2, across the line, congratulations Tim, but it will be Tim Schroeder finishing out the podium positions, and therefore Dominik Ladler in 4th for his first position outside the podium. But still congrats, because he will most likely inherit the championship lead at this point. Joachim Thunder coming across the line in P5. João Loreto still driving. I actually just lost it, I think in Albach. But for his first race on the big stage, still congrats to him. But that will be a wrap on this race, and I will talk you through the standings as soon as they are updated in a few minutes. And until then, let's talk about next week, because next week we will be back with the REN community events, and we will have a new car, a track we haven't featured in the REN community events as well. So brand new combo. You will see the trailer in 3, 2, 1. Actually, I didn't want to do that. Again, enjoy. We will be racing the Porsche Mission R at Orchard Road. Very tight street circuit, but a very fun combination. And we'll be looking forward to see you all then. And yes, Timothy, we have seen your crash. I mean, was it a crash? Was it a mistake? Standings still have to update, but I will talk you through as soon as I have it available. So we can see the points results of both splits as well. And thanks Jones for the raid. Okay, there we go. We have Nico Nenninghoff with 169 points, followed by Josef Eichenberger, who's won the second split. So the other server. Then we have Remco Major in third, Tim Schroeder in fourth. Timothy Fridge came in second on split number 2. Means he's also getting good amount of points. Dominik Ladler in 6th with 105 points. And Gok Pulasa with 98 points, finishing P3 on the second server. And then we have Thunder with 84 points, Acosta 74. And Loreto in P10, coming across the line, still gave him 63 points. So overall, if we now check in the app, see if it has updated. And indeed it has its Dominik Ladler. So you can also see here Dominik Ladler leading, as said previously, with 244 points over Joachim Thunder with 195 points. And Nico Nüninghoff won this race, made him 4th in the standings, but of course Dominik Ladler still has a cushion of around about 70 to 80 points. So for him it definitely worked out. But maybe we can also get a talk with the driver. You can see standings change quite significantly with each race, but consistency will be key in the end. And we still have 4 races to go, so there's still a lot of points to get. And this event, the Ranked Community League, is every second week, because John is just asking in chat. So every 2 weeks, the next one will be on the 22nd, not the 22nd, the 19th of April. And then on the 3rd of May. So every 2 weeks, and the week in between, so next week's Friday, there will be a ranked community event. So it's a special combo, but it's a one-time event where you can, of course, also participate in, which is also live broadcasted. So make sure to join us there as well. But we also have one interview guest. You may know him from other live streams. Welcome, Mr. Remco Major.
Hello.
Finishing P2 in the race, how was it?
It was long. It was 30 minutes, longer than I'm used to doing in here in RENNSPORT. But these are the new tires, of course, on these cars. So it was quite difficult to adapt to that on the long run. Although it was my first long race, of course, with these tires. But I think I managed well. From my calculations, I was less than a second a lap slower than Nico Nüninghoff, which I see as a win. So, yeah.
I mean, it catapulted you to 7th in the standings.
So. Oh, of course, yeah. This is the second race. Of course, I didn't drive the first race because I was doing commentary back then. But now I do drive, and I mean, Tim was, by the way, behind me. He was doing quite similar lap times to me. So I think if he didn't make his mistakes, then he would have put pressure under me. But in the end, I'm quite happy with how it went. Maybe a little bit of a silent race. At the start, I was being challenged because I had the worst start I could have ever imagined. But yeah, I think I managed it well. I kept up with Nico for quite a bit longer than I thought it would. It was only like half a second a lap slower at the start. And of course, I started overheating because I tried to keep up with that. So, but with this new tire model, of course, the tires are much easier to keep into control. So I backed down a little bit, got the tire back into the window, and then started driving a little bit. A few times where I pushed a little bit too hard, but in the end, I learned a lot. I had a lot of fun because I had to keep on my toes, keep well on my toes. Definitely at the start of the race, but I'm happy.
Sounds good. Now I don't have any further questions to ask because you already said everything I could have asked for.
Because I know what you're gonna ask.
Am I that predictable? Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, next week we will be at Orchard Road with the Mission R. And the week after we will be back at Daytona with the RENNSPORT Community League for round number 3 to finish off the first half of the season. Make sure to tune in by then. Make sure to tune in tomorrow to the Porsche Endurance Carrier Cup Deutschland and to KCG. For further infos, just join the Discord down in the description. And I wish you all a great evening. And until then, have a great night and goodbye.